Good morning and welcome, Phoenix. How you doing? I'm Joe Jakewood, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and it's a rare day. Phoenix only today. Colorado, we are supporting the Roosevelt graduates, the high school in Johnstown. It's down the street. I mean, right around the corner from the radio station. We do a lot of stuff with the high school and support a lot of the things that they do. And, of course, last year with COVID, they lost graduation. So they came up with this great idea of allowing all the seniors to drive their car. And they drove it through, Milliken and Johnstown and had the police escort. And we jumped in and said, hey, we'll provide an avenue for the kids to play the songs they want to hear while they're taking the drive, and also to allow family and friends to congratulate the kids on the air. And it was such a huge success. Even though they're having graduation, they asked us if we would do it again, and of course we did. So a big shout out to Ramon, because he's our producer here at KXXT. He jumped through a few hoops to allow us to jump back here in Phoenix. So we're live here in Phoenix today. Just a couple of announcements. It's Memorial Weekend, so obviously let's take a minute. You know what? Take 5, 10, maybe an hour. Take as much time as you want, but at least take a minute. And let's remember all of the Americans that laid their life down for freedom. You know, especially with what's happening today, you know, and whether it was, you know, really think about it, from 9/11 and the Patriot Act to COVID and vaccines and ID cards, and, you know, you see all the headlines like on the airplanes and how airplane violence is up through the roof. Well, you know, you've taken away people's freedoms, period. So let's remember those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And for them, you know, not just the ones that have served in the past, the ones that are presently serving. And as we think about it, as it's graduation season, those that are soon going to be serving here in the very near future, let's make sure they know that they're supported and loved and appreciated. And you know, we will get through these times. There's going to be pushback sooner or later. The problem is, I think things got to get a lot worse before that actually happens. I know the president is speaking right now on the fight against COVID, and of course they're starting to have to admit that yes, it's not just maybe, but more than likely, this thing came out of that lab in Wuhan. And I want to remind everybody, because, you know, most of us, we're uneducated when it comes to China. We are. We don't realize how big this country really is. I try to tell you every day. You know, no one buys more cars. No one uses more oil. No one uses more steel, copper, concrete. You know, think about corn. You know, China has purchased records amount of corn, not just from us, from the world, because they need to feed these people. Wuhan is humongous. It would be the largest city in the country, and it wouldn't be that close. So this isn't some, you know, when they tried to do the whole bat in a cave thing, you know, and you think about, you know, rice paddies and oxen and this and that, you know, that's not what Wuhan is or was. And of course they had the lab. We know for a fact that we are doing stuff with SARS there, which is just an offshoot of this, but neither here nor there. I'm glad to see apparently Facebook and the rest have stopped censoring the lab stories, but this is it's critical. This is why I own the radio station in Colorado. Maybe I didn't realize it at first, but I do now. Free speech is paramount and allowing, I guess the shame police to keep these people in check. It's just really reaching ridiculous proportions. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. allamericangold.com. That is our website. I'm going to make a shameless plug for the radio station Colorado, our CBD products. Listen, it's free shipping, Arizona. You don't pay any shipping, and because you're in Arizona, you don't pay any sales tax. Go to 1360khnc.com, hit the shop button, try our CBD products. They will help you. I know they will, because they help me. They help everybody, really, that I know. Maybe, there may be an example here or there, but the vast majority of people that tried this product are like, man, this has been the greatest thing I've ever done. By the way, we fixed the podcast. If you go to the podcast section at 1360, you click on our CBD Relief podcast, you'll see them all there now. So you'll hear what CBD is. We got a podcast about the tinctures, a podcast about the salves. I'm not even sure what every week we're going to be adding to it, so check it out. It all goes to help keep the radio station alive. When we get back, we have new inflation numbers, and again, wildly misrepresented. But here's what's funny. Way more than the 2% that the Federal Reserve had been promising, and yet, guess what? Still no talk about raising rates. And don't worry, it's okay, guys. It's just gonna be transitory. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. I'm not a doctor, but I got to talk about it. Why did they try to mislead us about the Wuhan lab thing? Because, I mean, really, and at the end of the day, wasn't that the most likely scenario? Of course it was. That was the most logical conclusion. And let me tell you why. Obviously, not just because they had that lab there, but they were researching SARS. Matter of fact, it's well known that we actually gave money to the Chinese to do that research. Now, they'll say, well, the money we gave them, we didn't allow them to do this live virus testing. It wasn't in there. It was very clear what they were supposed to spend the money on. And I say, listen, this was Fauci's defense. Now, this is what he said, now that it's been brought to light. Anybody knows that this should have been the first thing looked at, and it wasn't, and it was ignored. And the WHO, why are we even a part of this group? It's a proxy for the Chinese, because they came out, remember, right, and again misled everybody about what was really happening there. And it's the same thing over and over and over again, which is, hey, we don't want to tell the American people the truth. Because if you knew the truth, we really wouldn't like it. And I've said this forever. We need term limits. We need term limits in Washington. We can't allow for the, Joe Bidens of the world, 50 years, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. And listen, the Republicans know better. Right? Know better. We need term limits. They're corrupt. They get corrupted. And you know what? You get cozy with people. And I'm sure that a lot of people that Mr. Dr. Fauci thought were his friends over there, right? That he just did. No, they wouldn't do that. I've been saying it forever. For those of people out there that want to believe that China, the Chinese government, is our friend, you are sadly mistaken. They have a vision. And you know what? They put it on paper. They put it on paper. They want to be the world superpower, period. And the only question really we have to ask ourselves, was it an accident? Which I would like to believe that the scientists there created this virus, were testing it, and it got out. And I want to believe it was accident, but I can't say that. It could have been on purpose, you bet. And then you sit there, and again, you think about the number I'm going to tell you about right now. How does this go with what you do, Double? How does this, coronavirus Wuhan lab thing have anything to do? Stay in your lane. I get it. Stay in your lane. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you. But it has a lot to do with it. Because it's the same thing we've been talking about for the 18 years I've been here. For the 25 years that Patriot's been in existence. And they've got us gaslighted. They own the media. Why do you think they changed the laws? Why did you think they said, you know what? Now it's okay to have just a handful of media companies. They didn't do that before because they knew, hey, listen, it's not right to put so much power in the hands of the few. Why do you think they changed the laws on banking? We used to be smarter than that. Hey, no, we're not having mega banks. We don't want global banks. That's dangerous. Think about this. Why would we want 90% of all deposits in this country in less than 10 banks? That's reckless. That's stupid. It's idiotic. Yet here we are. And guess what they have? They got all the cheerleading channels on the TV. Yes, J.P. Morgan, B of A. Hey, yeah, way to go. Look how great this is. Right? How about when we gave away all of the manufacturing jobs? We've never recovered, have we? Nope. You know why we gave away all those jobs? Most people really don't know. It had nothing to do with we don't want those jobs. Believe me. Would you rather work at General Motors or McDonald's? Okay, right? It's pretty simple. Think about the chips. Think about all the car dealerships that have no trucks and SUVs because we don't have any chip facilities in this country. We want those jobs. We've always wanted those jobs. Those were really good jobs. It was so these banks could become global. That was the trade. That was it. Nothing else. J.P. Morgan wanted to sell credit cards to Asians, period. That's what it was all about. And, of course, what did they do? They got the unions involved. They had big business involved. Heck, Alan Greenspan at the time, right? Remember, he was the one who called, we don't want those jobs. And we were all dumb watching the TV because this was me. Because guess what? That was the guy. That was me. I'm watching the TV. I was a cheerleader channel watcher. Saying, yeah, you're right. We don't want those jobs. Why work in a factory when I can sit in an office cubicle? Little do we know there's not enough office cubicle jobs to go around. I was an idiot. And then I met somebody. Well, I met my wife, and then I met Eric, and that's how I became educated. That's how I became educated. That's why I do this radio show. I do this radio show. I want to help you, period. I've always been that way. I always want to help people out. Because if I need help, I want them to help me. Now I got a radio station that I can help even more. And when you think about today's inflation number, remember they got so many, but this is the one that they like. Okay? So this means it really, what does that mean? Well, what they call it the core personal consumption expenditures index. It's a lot of words. But doesn't that sound really important? Core personal consumption expenditures. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it, shall we? Right? That's when we start talking about, right? Well, let's see. Right? Rents, mortgages, insurance, automobile payments, right? Insurance for the automobile payments, your power bill, your electric bill, right? All of these basic things that you need. Now, of course, you would think food and energy and all that would be in there, but they stripped that part out. And then instead of actually using real data, because believe me, we've got the MIT mafia. We've got more real data than we know what to do with. Oh, no, can't use that data. Hell, let's replace it with a bunch of formulas and mumbo jumbo. And then we'll have the idiots on TV just repeat it and act like it's actually valuable. The key inflation indicator rose faster than expected. Now, this was an April number. Up 3.1% as price pressures continue to build rapidly. So remember now, they told us 2%. Remember when Janet Yellen made that number up with Ben Bernanke? Oh, yeah, we just want 2% inflation. Well, now we got 3% inflation. What are you doing about it? You know what they're doing about it? Nothing. And, of course, we know 3%'s not even close. But here's some interesting things that were in the number. Because they consider 2% to be healthy. What does that mean to you? Seriously, I'm asking, what does it mean to you? 2% inflation. Do you know what it really is? They want to devalue the dollar by 2%. That's their goal. That's what that means. Now, 2% is such a small number. Right? I mean, think about the COVID pandemic. You've got about a 2% chance of COVID killing you. And now they're saying, and of course, because of that, everybody's got to get vaccinated. But yet somehow devaluing the currency by 2% is okay. Matter of fact, according to the Fed, 3% is even better. Do a little math with me. 10 years, 2%. That means you've lost 20% of your buying power, which means you need to be making 20% more money 10 years from today just to stay even. Now, a 10-year note is paid 1.6%. Right? Wait a minute. I can't even keep my savings, can't even keep. And this is what they love the best. See, this is the part they don't want to tell anybody. Because if they explained it like this on TV, how upset would you be? Now it's 3.1%. Do that times 10 years. What? That's 30%. And here's the funny part. We know that that number's a lie. Right? The real number, John Williams said last week, is 11%. And we're sitting here and we're watching all of this, the people on TV try to tell, oh, don't worry, Jay Powell, Janet Yellen, they say everything's great, it's going to be fine. Now remember, that's when gold fell. Remember, gold fell. Went from a little over 2,000 down to 1,600 and change because for a minute there, that's what they wanted to believe. Now, no one believes it so much. Is it coincidence that Bitcoin's having a hard time now that this isn't real? And, of course, you're seeing gold, right? Gold, $1,899 right now. And they're saying that these numbers are going to get worse before they get better. You know when they're going to get better? I'll tell you when they're going to get better. In about another year. Why? Well, hopefully, and fingers crossed, the biggest part of the increases will happen this year. I hope. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. And again, U.S. $20 gold pieces. Libs or Saints, you pick them, $21.50. Quarters, rolls of quarters, $2.50. Rolls of dimes, $1.25. And you know what? Yesterday, I made a mistake. I apologize. If you buy a bag of quarters or a bag of dimes, it's $24,500. So you're going to save another $500 on a volume discount there. So I apologize. I don't know why I screwed that up yesterday. We made those corrections. So a bag of quarters, $24,500. A bag of dimes, $24,500. Or if you want to buy them by the rolls, $250 on the quarters, $125 on the dimes. And for those of you that knew, we used to have silver in our dimes, quarters, and half dollars. And then, of course, silver got too expensive because we want to devalue the money every year. And so after 1964, they took all the silver out of the quarters and dimes from 65 to 68. They had them in the half dollars at like 40%. And then after that, they went away completely. So these are all pre-1965 quarters and dimes, silver quarters, silver dimes. Really, really good for the prepper in you, right? If you think we're gonna end up in chaos, and I liken these to I call these, well, first of all, it's the cheapest way to buy silver right now, so I like that. But if we were ever to be without power, you know, and I'll use Puerto Rico as a great example. Remember those storms that devastated Puerto Rico? We actually have customers there. They were using gold and silver to get things without power. So these dimes and quarters, that's a great way to do it if you're of that volition and that's something you want to prepare for. That's a great way to do it. 800-951-0592. So just like the virus came from some bat in a cave, which made no sense. Or what really made sense is it came from the lab where they were testing all that stuff. They came out and said, oh my gosh, inflation, much hotter than we expected. Now, I want to give you some numbers. They said that the headline number, and again, this is the PCE deflator number. That isn't the real headline number, but 3.6%. So, hey, when we throw the food and the energy, right, it's even hotter than that. By the way, the fastest rate of price increases since 2008. Now, I'm going to say, what makes 08 interesting? Well, they changed the housing formula again in 08. I want to point that out to you. That's why it says 08, okay? Even more notably, the core number, that 3.1, the hottest print since 1992. Wait a minute. You're trying to tell me that this is the worst inflation number in almost 30 years? Come on. Of course, what did they start doing in 1994? That's when they started changing all the formulas, Alan Greenspan. Right? Stuff like this. Well, chicken got expensive. Well, you're just not going to buy chicken. You'll buy pork's cheaper. So we'll say that you bought pork instead. See, presto, no inflation. The old substitution method came into effect. 1996, they had an even better one where they said, hey, we're not going to count that as being more because it's better now. Like automobiles, right? The reason why there's been zero inflation. Now think about this. We've got record high prices. They're still at zero. Not from 1996 till today. According to the central bank, there's been zero inflation in automobiles. Because, well, we've made it better. So therefore it can cost more. And that's not inflation. But we always made things better, didn't we? Didn't used to be that way, but, this is the new logic. And, of course, we've got the cheerleading channels to do it now. Right? Think about it. Why didn't they make these changes in the 40s and the 50s? Well, you barely even had TV in the 50s. And they weren't dumb enough to report these things as fact. Right? We had to wait for cable TV, and now you turn on, you know what? I can watch what I'll call the stock channels 24 hours a day now. I have DirecTV. I think there's 5 stations that pretty much are dedicated to debt markets, and they all cheerlead the same way. But just think about this in perspective. This is the worst inflation in 30 years. And you know what they're telling us? Don't worry. So your money's going to be worth a little less for a while. But here's the good part. Eventually, it'll stop being worth that much less. Right? Hey, I'm not, I got to tell you, my chicken wing story, I'm on it. Chicken wings went up another $15 a case. I was just talking to my buddy today. $15 more a case. This is an item that used to be $80, for your restaurants and stuff. Now they're over I think $185 a case. But here's the good part. They're never going to be $80 again. But hopefully by this time next year, we're hoping that maybe it'll only be $190, and therefore it'll be better. Well, it only went from $185 to $190. Look, that's a lot smaller. That's what they're going to call transitory. How about this? It isn't just lumber. According to home builders, materials such as appliances, plywood, windows, doors, pretty much everything you need to build a house is in short supply. The National Associations of Home Builders are saying that 24 types of materials and supplies are in what they call a shortage. 95% of builders who purchased the products reported shortages across all types of housing, most notably appliances. Yeah, I did not know. I'm going to have to find out. I'm assuming that washers, dryers, refrigerators, dishwashers, they're probably going through the roof. Yeah, don't worry, though. It's just transitory. It'll be fine. Don't put any gold away. Who cares if they're going to debase the currency? Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592. Gold's up a little over $3 now, $18.99. Silver is higher as well, up about 5 cents right now, $27.98. What is savings? Savings. You know, the Federal Reserve and the bankers, unless you're really rich, they don't want you to save anything. Right? Why do you think the bonds don't pay? They want inflation to be higher than what the bonds yield. Even though they'll say, oh, no, we don't. No, of course they do. They don't want you to say, they need you to spend. Right? They need an inflation. I keep trying to tell you that. We're stuck here. That's why the digital dollar is coming. Savings. It's pretty simple. Production minus consumption. Right? And by production, what are we talking about? That's your labor. Right? You go to work every day. You produce something. I produce something. You produce something. All of you buying, you produce something. You earn money. Production. Then you, of course, consume part of that. I mean, for most of us, we consume most of it, right? I mean, that's just the way it is with a devaluing currency. But whatever's left over is savings. Now, you hear them tell you, oh, we need to save more for retirement, right? And they say it over and over and over again. You want people to save more for retirement? Have a bond, pay 7, 8, 9, 10%. There'll be a lot of savings. I mean, it's pretty simple. They don't want us to save. They say they want us to save, but they actually mean the exact opposite. Now this new modern money theory, which, how do you like it so far? Savings can be conjured up out of thin air. Yeah. Right? We're just going to start sending people money. Money the Fed prints to support government dropping bombs in the Middle East is allegedly savings. Right? Everything's savings. If the government builds a bridge and pays $1 million for it by floating bonds, the savings are $1 million. If the government paid $1 trillion for the same bridge, the savings would be $1 trillion. See, this new modern theory, this debt is it's savings. Of course, it's not. Quantitative easing, hey, that's savings. People paid money to do nothing. People paid people. I get it right. Paid people money to do nothing. Savings. One does not have to produce anything to save in America. Right? Isn't this what we're talking about? And, of course, Mike Shedlock, he's the guy that I'm stealing all of this from. He's fantastic, by the way. Mishtalk.com if you want to check him out. All of the things I just said are nonsense. But yet, when you sit there and you listen to our Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, yesterday, that's what she believes. And I've warned all of you. She's not just a Democrat. I mean, she may be, you know what, I like her. She's the AOC of your wealth. That's Janet Yellen. She loves the printing press, thinking that somehow it's less oppressive. But really, if you ever studied history ever, it's more oppressive. Think about it. We've created a lot more billionaires lately, haven't we? A lot of them. But think about how many millions have ended up going the other way. right? For every one new billionaire we created, what are we talking about? 500,000 people go into poverty? What's the two fastest growing segments? And I'm percentages. Okay, got to say this percentage-wise. When it comes to the pay scale, the 1%, which grows by a couple hundred, it's pretty small, by the way, and people falling below the poverty line. That's the two fastest growing segments. What's shrinking the fastest? It's the middle class. And it's all this modern money theory that they think that prosperity comes from the printing press. And now, I mean, what's inflation number do you want? I don't know. What number do you want? 11%, 8%, 5%. Okay, PCE deflator, 3.6%. Core PCE, 3.1%. Either way. I guess the best case scenario, if you lived on Janet Yellen and Jay Powell's fantasy island, you're losing 3% of your wealth every year. Every year. And I'll remind you of what Stan Druckenmiller, Jeff Gundlach have been telling everybody. Who in the right mind would buy a bond that pays 1.6% when everybody knows inflation is 2, 3, 4, 5 times that? The answer is nobody. Understand that. There's nobody there. And when the bottom finally falls out, that's when the greatest redistribution of wealth is going to occur. And it'll occur for you if you've got some gold and silver put away. It will. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Very important, just breaking here. I'm going to give you the specials, and then I've got breaking news. U.S. $20 Liberties and Saints, $2,150. Either one. Mix, match them. We don't care. Rolls of silver quarters and silver dimes. Quarters are at $2.50. Dimes at 1 1/4. Right, so the silver, 40 quarters, 50 dimes. So you need 2 rolls of dimes to have the same amount of silver as a roll of quarters, so they're the same price. If you buy a whole bag of quarters or dimes, you're going to save another $500. That'll put the bag $1,500 off. And I got a funny feeling by Tuesday when we come back, we're going to be telling a very different story. By the way, a bag's $24,500. This just breaking. The U.S. Mint with an announcement today via Facebook. Of course it is. But via Facebook is committed to providing the best possible online experience to its customers. The global silver shortage has driven demand for many of our bullion and numismatic products to record heights. The level of demand is felt most acutely by the Mint during the initial production release of numismatic type items. Okay, so you're talking about their proofs. Most recently in the pre-order window for the 2021, and you're right, we've talked about this quite a bit. The Mint is getting ready for their new designs. They were originally scheduled for a June 1 and June 7th release on some new Morgan items that they were also putting out. Remember, this is the 100th anniversary. 1921 was the end of the Morgan dollar. The Mint is now saying these items are going to be delayed. Silver remains, demand for silver remains far greater than the supply. The reality is such that not everyone will be able to purchase coins. We are confident during this postponement we'll be able to greatly improve our ability to deliver the utmost positive U.S. Mint experience that our customers deserve We will announce revised pre-order launch dates as soon as possible. So I don't know. That's just the announcement there. Again, these are the Morgan and Peace dollar 100 anniversary silver coins. Those are now going to be delayed. No word yet from the mint as to the new design that was supposed to launch in July. My guess is, based on this announcement, that is going to be delayed. But we will keep you posted. 800-951-0592. Silver is now up 10 cents, over $28. By the way, crude oil just hit $67. Yeah, unfortunately, I got bad news for you there, too. That's going to go a lot higher as well. 800-951-0592. And again, I will do my best to keep you updated. It was just a matter of time. I think we're going to see a lot more coming with the silver shortage. This isn't a short squeeze. I've said this all along. This is a physical demand problem. God bless everybody. Have a great Memorial weekend. God bless you, all of our troops, past, current, future. Thank you for your service. We'll be back on Tuesday.